Hey everybody, good morning. Looks like we got channel member Donald, we've got Wade, we got Rosalind, we got channel member Don, channel member Dan, channel member Rex. We've got David, we got Nina, we've got Arturo, channel member Arturo, Craig, channel member Will, channel member Svenborn, channel member Gayton. Glad to see everybody this morning. Looks like Goose and Sledge are playing hooky this morning in the chat. Dun dun dun. Probably busy. You know, the working life. Hey, Dana, and Diana, and Diane, and Jay. Good morning, everybody. Started a moment early instead of like 2 minutes late for once. Crying out loud. Anyway, welcome to the show. Liquidity is epically low. And let's kind of take a look at that, shall we? Shall we? The silver, get my screen thing flipped over. Can't touch this. There we go. Adjust. I don't know. It's like I bumped something, I guess. Everything's adjusted funny. So this right here is the top of book depth right here. And this kind of suggests that their depth of market is very, very low coming into the new year here. They have accumulated a little bit of that buying we saw, but this is still epically low. And, well, the way this works, when liquidity is low, there's just not a lot to go around, all right? So it can cause massive fast moves in the market. That fast move could be down, it could be up, and I would urge some caution. Just like we had the holiday week the last 2 weeks, and I urged caution, trying to get very aggressive in the holiday weeks. I still am in that camp to urge caution as we come out of the holiday weeks. And this week is a surprise holiday week, as Thursday is closed for President Carter's observance, and we'll see what happens here. So Thursday is closed. I keep getting all these emails from the brokers, and I don't know what this week will bring, because that's kind of a surprise closed holiday day. I'll be doing a crypto special, and hey, today, Tuesday, 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern, I'll be doing 30 minutes of awesome. The last 2 weeks were holiday weeks, and I didn't do it, so bring your tickers, come hang out. It's been a few weeks. Hopefully everybody remembers we do this. Show up, and we'll do the thing. It does require people to show up and make requests to do a request show. So if you show up, I'll be there, and we'll do it for at least 30 minutes. Or if nobody shows up, I guess we'll, adios. Anyway, thanks for coming, everybody. Thanks for being here today. And that's liquidity for you, kind of at the bottom. This is prime book. This is big traders, and not very much depth of that book on the top of the book. So I don't know. I guess we should do this. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Any trading you do, you might lose your money. All right. Past performance, not necessarily indicative of future results. That means even though I predict stuff, I get it right more often than not, I may never get it right again. And there's a substantial risk of loss if you do anything I say or follow along. So be careful out there. This presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instrument. If you desire personal financial advice, you need to hire and consult a financial advisor, which is not what I do. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't play one on YouTube. I don't play one on TV. And funny enough, I was going to throw up another funny thing about Jim Cramer, but let's see if I can find it. The window was closed. See if I can find her here. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Right here. Check this out. I just thought this came across my feed yesterday. At this point, everybody knows Jim Cramer on CNBC, and he's there to create liquidity for Wall Street insiders. If he says sell, it's because they're trying to buy. And if he says buy, it's because they're trying to sell. Inverse Cramer, right? And no technician can even come close to the accuracy of an inverse Cramer right there. Inverse Cramer. So yesterday, he was announcing Bitcoin was going to drop to 90,000, and we saw it, when I went to bed last night, it was like 103,000. This morning when I wake up, it's back down to 101,000. Poor guy. Just a shill, I guess you might say. Looking at the calendar for this week, we've got tomorrow we get the Jolts job openings stuff coming out after the market opens. Not really anything. I guess that's today, actually. Today, sorry. Today, Jolts jobs hitting. Tomorrow, we get the unemployment claims. I guess they're rolling that forward since Thursday is the day of observance for President Carter. And we get some FOMC meeting minutes in the afternoon. How serious were they on being hawkish or dovish? I guess we'll kind of see in the minutes. See what they actually intend for 2025. And Thursday, the day of observance, I'll do a crypto special because crypto never stops. And then Friday, we have the jobs, the non-farm employment, unemployment, all that stuff. And get some preliminary inflation and some preliminary consumer sentiment. That's what we got this week. So, shaping up for an interesting week. Feels like it's already halfway done, even though we're just on Tuesday morning. Thursday holiday, market close day. Next week, we'll get a full week, finally. But we have CPI and PPI and retail sales. Crazy numbers. And then next week, after that, Inauguration Day. That's, I don't know, like, things can go crazy starting about then. President-elect Kamala Harris yesterday certifying President Trump-elect as the as the winner of the election. So he will take over on the 20th. And he's urging Congress to pass bills to streamline his plan. Out there pushing hard. Well, agree with it or not agree with it. They're going to make some big sweeping changes, more than likely. So, I still strongly believe Doge is going to have unintended consequences that may be devastating for the market. Be prepared. It won't necessarily be instant, but it could be. Could be instant, could lag. It's hard to, this is an unknown, it's a known unknown for me. I know it's coming, but I don't know what the reaction is going to be. I don't think it's going to be positive because you don't cut the one thing that's kept the economy growing. You don't cut major cuts to it and keep growing the economy. That's just this 100-mile long train just doesn't flip on a dime like that. So be careful out there as we come into the new regime. If you want to call it that. So that's my warning. Now, TradingView has a cool new tool. A few people have been asking me about it. So check this out right here. If you go down to the bottom, I know there's a whole nother tool also, but if you click on this right here, it says more on options. Check this out now. You can actually look at the option chain right on TradingView. That's pretty cool. So we've got if you scroll up to the top, you can pick your expiration. If you hover, it tells you the date it expires plus how many days till expiry. That one's 38. Come over here, hover a minute. You got 3 days to expiry, 10 days, 17 days, 24 days. That's in the parentheses there. And you can start looking at the option chain and the prices right here on TradingView. Now, interesting choice here. They flipped the bid and ask from almost every other platform I've ever messed with. So be careful here. These are flip-flopped. Usually it's bid here and ask here. So the high price is here and the low price is here. That's a little weird, but they have a price, which is the mid on most other platforms. And I guess it's a little bigger than fits on my one thing here. It shows you all these extra data points. And down here, look at this. This is one of those things that you used to only find on E-Trade. They've got an implied volatility curve by strikes for a particular expiration. And you can turn on multiple expirations. Like if you want to see how the implied volatility, I guess you can turn on 5. how the implied volatility works. Interesting, got a little spike right there. And then right here at the bottom, the term structure. So this is implied volatility by expiration. So right now, the biggest premium is available right here, 1 month out. Interesting, right? I find this, I love this data on E-Trade, the Power E-Trade platform. It's the only place I've really seen it in an easy to use way like this. And this is almost recreating what's on E-Trade. So, 1 week out, 2 weeks out, I kind of skip the 3 weeks out, jump up to a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. So a little bit of a weird scale, but not bad. And you can kind of quickly jump through and see the differences in things. Like, look at that implied volatility, 66% over the next year for iShares. And let's see, look at stuff like NVIDIA. Look at that big implied volatility out there, 3 months. Really volatility really drops off. But so this is, how do you know where the best place to go shop for an option position if you're trying to sell credit? This is the way. These little charts right here. So if you're chasing something that might have some implied volatility in the future, that. Now, earnings are coming up right in here too, so that's what's causing that spike. Probably be a lot of these is earnings. But look at that, 70% implied volatility on Tesla. Can make some money on that. But what's funny is, we know we have another earnings coming up out here, another one out here, another one out here. But that's the only one that's priced in right now with the implied volatility. You can let me know in the chat if you think this is interesting. If you're just like completely bored by this, that's cool. Let me know. And look at that. Look at the implied volatility on MSTR, 112. Holy bananas. Holy bananas. That's a lot. Let's see. MSTX. Don't have an option series. MSTU. Can it pull options? Nope. Can't pull the options. So it doesn't have all the options, unfortunately, even though I know some of these have options. So you kind of have to, it's not a full-fledged replacement for a brokerage yet. And you can't really attach things to these. Like, you can't attach alerts to these at this point. There's no alert ability off of option prices at this point. So a couple of people have been like, well, how do we use this tool? Now, how do we use it? Indeed, if you go back to the TradingView homepage here, they have products and they have options, and you can now use the strategy builder and actually do some other cool stuff with options, but it's still not charting or anything like that. So a little bit different way to use the tool right there. And, like look at all these. I joke about all these, like, long calls and long puts, short calls, short puts. Then you've got bull call spreads, bear call spreads, bear put spreads, bull put spreads, long straddles, short straddles, long strangle. You got strangles and butterflies and iron butterflies and iron condors and jade lizards and butterflies with a back twist. And like, some of these are just, you can create an empty strategy and build your own. So these all kind of crack me up. So, I like to keep it stupidly simple. All right, just buy a long call, buy a long put. I found the vast majority of the time you don't get yourself in the trouble if you're just doing the simple stuff. Some of these down here, you got to do like 4 legs, and it gets to be all sorts of craziness. Iron butterflies and, iron condors, and do a long iron condor or a short iron condor. A lot of people do the short iron condors, and you try to keep keep price in between the uprights, or if you know price is going to move, you try to do that one. I know about all these things, and it's easy to lose money when you're screwing around with this stuff, all right? It's easy to mess up. I usually stay right up here, long calls, long puts. It's the simple way to do it. All right. So, and this is switched over to ES, funny enough. So be careful out there. You can and may lose money messing with options. All right. And when you add options to leverage stuff, be even more careful. So hopefully that was beneficial, diving through the chains. Maybe now I'll be able to talk a little bit more intelligently about some of the option prices and picks. We can just dive in, roll down, click the option button on some of the potential plays. Anyway, look at the S&P yesterday. Came right up into that danger zone. I guess I was on a 1-hour chart yesterday. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. Hovering. Everybody hovering. Came right up in there. Pulled back to the 1-hour roadmap line. So if this holds right there, if we can break back through, maybe do a back test, that would be pretty sweet. Check. Plus. Happy face. That's what I want to see right there. Let's get the heck out of here. Let's quit correcting. That would be my preference. Now, the danger though, we are under that resistance, and we made an initial move. We made an initial retrace. If we get continuation, fill the gap. This is probably going on down. And how far on down? The roadmap line on down. That's what this looks like right now. So this is what we got potentially in store somewhere down in here. If we start breaking down, we have that kind of resistance zone built up in here. If we start breaking this, fill that gap, probably coming down to test this. When we get below that, we're coming down here. Right down in there. Could go as low as 5,600, maybe even 5,500 if we got a little overexcited, went a little too far, or we reverse. Kind of like what happened back in August. All right, this is why I'm warning. Oh, that was cool. I don't even know what happened there. Click the tab, I guess. Back in August, we got a little overexcited, a little fast. So this is like we're basically right here, like we were in August. Now, we don't really have any crazy events coming up. We have no FOMC this week. We don't have anything that might just knee-jerk us. So if this happens, it's going to be hard to point to a reason. Now, there's a few things out there that might happen, but be careful, all right? If we can push on through, looks good for going higher. So that downtrend of high is very important at this point. Didn't even have to use ES, which maybe it's even a little more clear right there. And that resistance does come up to the top of that prior high right there. So if we poke on up through, we stabbed into it yesterday, rejected almost perfectly. If we can push on through today, good. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see this push on up in here, get above, and go on even higher. That's what I want to see. That's my preference. I'm going to set an alert right there. If we can break up through that, probably going higher. In Q, really testing it here. Open just a smidge higher there. Can we get the continuation? That's the big question. So we kind of blurred this up a little bit on the hourly chart. Pushed up through, smearing it up. If we can break out, that'd be good. Very cautious here. This is proving to be resistance, this downtrend of highs. Remember, as far as technical indicators go, a trend line, probably the weakest of technical indicators. So be careful. This chart does look a little more bullish than ES. Russell here. looks like we could rally right up in here very, very easily. Right up in this resistance. We're a long way away. Kind of came up. We back tested the 1 hour roadmap line. As long as we hold above that, probably going cruising right up here. If we get below it, we can flush on down. Simple as that. Oil. Let's jump up to the daily chart and look at where we're at. We are above the roadmap line. Draw, please. There we go. We're above it. Can we get continuation away from it? Now, this looks highly likely to pop up right there. If we can get through that, we're going cruising. Like 90 would probably be a good spot to go above that. Remember, drill baby drill is not bullish for oil prices. That's good for consumers, keeping oil prices lower. Think about it. Trump was like, we're going to drill more oil and we're going to keep prices low. That's what he said. It's not bullish for oil, all right? That's a lot of people have had that misconception. They're like, drill baby drill is bullish for oil. That's bullish on the consumer. That's bearish on prices of oil. It can lead to lower prices per barrel. So be careful, all right? You know, yes, some drillers and production people may see increased business, but with lower prices of oil, does that equate to higher bottom line and increased share price? So you got to be careful falling into that thought process there. And look at this right here. Bigger downtrend of highs cooking. We still got to break above that. Longer term, bigger downtrend of highs. It's sitting out here. Kind of, it's difficult to place it perfectly. Like, do you line it up on more? Or do you line it up on the two big ones up here? So there is still some resistance up in this zone that we're going to have to get through to go on up here in the 90 area on oil. Even though we're above the first two resistance levels, we could easily flush that right back down. Gold here, mucking up the pattern a lot. This has now become diagonal-ish and overlapping. What do I mean? I talked about this quite a bit yesterday, where we take this high, then we take the next high and look at the next low, and it overlaps. Right, that zone is overlapping. That's not very progressive or productive for getting continuation. Now, if this is a windup, it could, could be a 1-2-1-2, but when you start diving in the lower time frames, this looks like it's made up of corrective moves. That could easily flush us right back down. So we have this major resistance right here. We have this downtrend of highs cooking over here. If we can get through all that stuff, we start looking higher, but gold may be maybe struggling a little bit. As far as silver goes, nice strong 4 days. If we can break through that 618 zone, we can get some higher prices here. I've not added anything to silver. This still looks like we may experience some resistance here and get one more flush to a lower low right in here in the coming days. And then we may bounce. So I'm very cautious here. If we just start blasting through that resistance and then this resistance, then we can look higher. And breakout big, a big breakout higher could be in store. When we look at the bigger picture time frame here, we could be looking at silver here catching up 60, 70. And when I say catching up, if you go look at the GC charts on that same weekly time frame, we're already up here. We're already hanging out up here at 29, 28, 29, 3,000 area. That's already the extension. That's already the 1618. But when you look at silver, it hasn't even broke out yet. It hadn't even made new highs yet. So it's sitting here lagging. If it were to catch up, we could be looking at 120. Are you kidding me right now? Look at that, 120. Holy! If it just caught up to the move on gold, that's almost 100 points higher. Holy sugar! Holy sugar! Yeah. So, giant opportunity on silver if it plays. May not play. That's the bummer. I can't go all in on it because, well, you just never know. Bitcoin. Yeah, funny enough, I drew a big resistance zone. We moved right up to the top of it and make it a red candle. If we start breaking back below that level right there, the low from yesterday, probably not gonna get continuation at the moment. This is not really what I want to see. I mean, you know, one of my coworkers in the background yesterday is like, "Aren't you really excited about Bitcoin?" I was like, "Yeah, but I'd really like to see the daily close above 105." I was like, "We're still in the danger zone. We're getting that retrace back down here, right there. Still in the danger zone." We start breaking below that right there, I'm liquidating off my position again. My leverage Bitcoin, BTX, BTU, and gonna wait probably for that. ETH, same exact pattern that I was warning about. First move down, the retrace, next move down, potentially right down in there. Dollar. That could be it. That could be it. That could be it. That could be it. Now, funny enough, all the mainstream media was like, yeah, the dollar taking a bath on Trump's aides reporting that the tariff, blah, 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 may not be as bad, blah, blah, blah. And then Trump coming out later in the afternoon saying, oh, that was all crap. They don't know what they're talking about. And all these mainstream media headlines are like, oh, the dollar reversed strongly and went back higher, but that doesn't look like reversing strongly and going back higher to me. I don't know about you. That right there, you gotta be like, I don't know where they come up with these headlines, but this looks like we're coming on down, regardless of whatever anybody says. This looks like we're going to go lower. We're going to come back and test the roadmap line. And then if we get below it, well, all these targets down here come into play. All these things we've been talking about. This is a big corrective pattern. This was the high, and we're in a corrective pattern, and doesn't matter who does what, tariffs or any otherwise, we're probably going down and making a lower low than this low we made back here in the summer of 23. All right, it's just probably going to happen. Like, that's the price pattern. In KD, ooh, getting so close to breaking out. Can we break out? If we do, it's probably coming up here, 44,000. Probably going to take the U.S. markets with it. I don't know anybody else that watches this. It's kind of like an indicator. But this, to me, is a global liquidity indicator. So far, we're holding the uptrend highs here. We break out, probably setting the stage to see this pop right up in this area, right up in here. Probably take the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Russell, probably take them all higher. And that all looks good. So I run a tool in the pre-market, pull everything moving up $2 or more in the pre-market, put it on the gainers list, moving down $2 or more, put it on the decliners list, and we go hunt for opportunities. Now, looking at UNF, Uni first here, we gotta go to that high and this low, lowest highest high, lowest low, corrective, choppy price action. This is what I always warn about. Look at that move up, and then chopped right down into a lower low, popping up again. I don't know if this is bullish yet. That's a caution right here. That turned down at what may be a 3-wave bearish move right here. That spike, this can still go right back down. I'll be very cautious on that move right there. Not my favorite. That is a massive pop though. Whatever happened. Yeah, Centos gonna buy UniFirst. Oh, that's the deal. Although, are they gonna let that happen? I don't know. I don't know. So buyout pop, and we'll see if it actually plays, I guess. If it does play, this will grind from wherever it stops today. This will grind up to that over the, until they get the deal worked out, 275, and that'll be it. I'm not going any higher than that. So if the deal works, if it fails, this will probably flush. NARI. This is medical specialties. Be careful. That's been a long, grinding, nasty correction down, and I'm not convinced that we're not going to make another leg down. That can turn down right off of here. 1, 2, 3, and we can flush down. Get that low right there. 1, 2, 3, and we can still go lower. Ulta. Ooh, right up testing the 618 level there. I need to fix it just a bit. Testing right into it. We had that gap down. We left right over here. May not be able to get through on the first attempt. Pop up, retrace, and then pop again. That's what I might expect. Carvana. Bouncing off the roadmap line. Even if it's a garbage dumpster fire of a company, complete waste of space. That doesn't negate this pattern from working out. If we get above that level right there at 226, probably going on up to 280, possibly 290 for the target right there. But be careful. This can always make another leg down pretty easily. First leg, bounce. Next leg, right down there. Lulu. The list is not super long today, but we'll try to not spend an hour plus on it. So Lulu, if we can get through that gap down, probably going cruising right up here. This actually looks pretty strong. Stronger than Ulta at the moment. SSTK. Man. Are these guys going to make it? Golly. Not great at managing their share price is what I would say. I wouldn't. I mean, there's opportunity. You could trade this, but sheesh, man. This looks like it's going to go lower low. That's all just corrective crap. That looks like it's going to make a lower low. Right down there eventually. ESLT. Back to the daily charts. And right up to the targets. Next one up, 308, if we're going to get the extension. SAP, let's go to the US version, not the German version. And 250, maybe? I mean, it hasn't really done a correction in a long time that gives me anything to work with, so. Let's just keep grinding higher. And that 250 area, 250, 260. Team. Already hit the resistance area. Retracing. I would expect it to come on down to the roadmap line. It doesn't have to. It may just push on through at this point. I would probably expect more resistance right up here on the grind higher. Still have resistance at that high. Haven't gotten through it yet. If it just turns, may find next resistance in this area. Support down here at the roadmap line. NVDU. Be very, very careful on NVIDIA. This popped up, hit the 618. Back testing that trend line. We broke below the trend line. Back testing the trend line. This is on the leverage version. Be careful on leverage. I've said that a bajillion times. All right, be careful on leverage. Looking at NVIDIA. This spiked back up to the all-time high. It was widely reported as it overtook Apple as the most valuable company in the world. Be very, very careful here. They're splitting hairs. Splitting hairs this morning. This can drop right back down. This all looks like a topping process. We get below that, bigger flush. This thing is high flying, and I'm going to keep warning that it is set up for a large correction. There's not much that's going to happen that changes my mind. Now, they're announcing some new stuff at CES this week. Not really sure what. Probably some 5000 series consumer GPUs, but we'll see. This one right here, look at this. Kind of breaking through, back testing at the roadmap line. This can set up a nice little run higher on PEN. Could run up to this 260 area. 263, 268 right there. Very sloppy. Clean it up just a little bit. And 264, 269. And we're almost there, so be careful. TM. Toyota Motors probably coming back to the roadmap line. It's funny how that played out just like I drew it. We'll see what happens here next on Toyota. I'd expect it to backtest the roadmap line here. Then go for this if it can. And if we can get up here, we might tip this bullish. But if we reject, if we break down here, going down. If we reject here, going down. If we get here, probably come back to the roadmap line again and then go bullish. So I'm going to have to thread the needle here for Toyota. MU. Man, that MU. I forgot to buy this. That was stupid. I should have bought that yesterday. Wow. Forgot. If this breaks out above all this consolidation over here, we got that gappy down stuff, but we have this rejection right here. We've rejected once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times. We rejected this area 5 times now. If we can break through that, probably going to break through this, and probably going to set up a bigger run. Much, much higher, potentially, on MU. Snow. Still expect that to come back down to the roadmap line. We'll probably do a 618 retrace here. Just above us at 172. And we may reject and flush on down for snow. NVDL, another leverage on NVIDIA. Watch for that to break back down. It did hold the roadmap line, so unlike the other one, the U over here, NVDL did hold the roadmap line, but it hasn't made a higher high like NVIDIA. So even though this is leveraged, remember, leverage stuff doesn't always perform in a leveraged manner. So that's the warning here. That made a higher high, but NVDL has not made a higher high. Even yesterday, it came up short. So it's not getting the 2x performance here lately. Be careful. The leverage ones don't have to work. Especially over a period longer than a day. So this probably coming back to the roadmap line. That would be what I expect. We might push out to 157, 161, but gives me a lot of caution here. That double top thing without hitting the roadmap line kind of gives me this thought that we're going to see that right there. AMVS, low price stuff. Man, that's a pharmaceutical. Be careful. I wouldn't touch it. AUR, popping out. Man, that's a gnarly chart. Lots of overlap on that move. See if I can predict any kind of upside at all here. God, that's 1, 2, 3. That's so gnarly overlapping. And maybe 14 if we're going to pop even more here, which would be right near that. If we get to 25, probably do a correction and a bigger bounce. And that one. Logitech. This has been a pretty gnarly chart for a couple months. Maybe a few years now, I guess. So check this out. Look, this high, this low. See where we stopped? Right in the reversal zone. Could be setting up for a bigger flush right down here. Could be. Could be even deeper. You go from that high, this low, this high. Could be down here at 31. That could flush right down there. I'll be very careful here. It could turn the corner here, but that sure looks like a bearish setup for dropping out. USD. A lot of people got really bullish on semiconductors yesterday when these ETFs busted out. So be very careful. If NVIDIA rips back down, this is going right down with it. As USD, SOXX. Heard a lot about that one. SOXL. That one did not even get above the roadmap line. So be careful here on especially leveraged semiconductor ETFs. KMT. That broke up, and next resistance I would expect is right here at 108. If we can get above that, we could be looking at a nice move up to 155. That'd be a 50% gain on shares. That's pretty strong right there. Pretty strong potential. Really need it to clear the conservative entry here to get that target. Cold. Just chopping in here. Chopping. Possible for that to pop. Still expect it to pop. NG1 exclamation point. Still expect this to come back to the roadmap line. Right back down there. ENVX. It's a electrical products company. This thing has been humming in this channel. Kind of testing the breakout once again. If we can get above it, we might be able to be finished with this weird corrective drift lower. Just nothing for me at the moment, chart wise. This is an interesting, is pharmaceutical biotech caution, but I do like that pattern. It may pop on up to, it is low price too, epically low price, $2. Could pop up in the $6 to $9 area and still maintain its dumpster fire path towards zero. Doesn't have reverse splits yet. Probably just a matter of time. All right. Decliners. MSTR getting whacked a little bit on Bitcoin being soft. This thing was rallying pretty strong yesterday on Bitcoin being spicy. As I said, the resistance based on this low yesterday is right up here at these prior highs. If we rally up there and turn down, still come down to the roadmap line, still make a lower low. So there may be some upside here, but be careful. This may still have downside to go. Now, if we break up through these highs, rocking and roll, baby, that $1,000 target can come into play. And if Bitcoin breaks through the 105 area, this thing's probably going to turn and burn. App. Watch for that to come on down. Tesla. Just chopping here. I would expect, like I said yesterday, I expect a 618 retrace off of that initial move up, which we're kind of back testing the 1 hour roadmap line here. Initial move up, retrace, continuation, retrace, no overlap. That would be the key here. No overlap. And continuation, and another retrace, same vicinity, and a bigger move. So if we set that up, Tesla can go rocking and rolling higher. DPZ, Domino's Pizza. Big picture, that looks bearish. How bearish? that high, that low, that high. Talking about something down here where all these alerts are. Imagine that. Looks like a setup for a 1-2, flush 3, 4, 5. PTIR. Feel like a broken record. Watch out for the big flush. That's probably going to do it. PLTR probably going to come back to the roadmap line. That's a 40% downside. And PTIR with the 2x leverage on it can do an 80% downside. Be careful. APOG. Man, that thing looks gnarly. Going for a bigger correction. Let's see, did we get the... Yep, we hit the targets, so retrace back down in this area, back down to 40s would be kind of expected. At least to retest the weekly roadmap line. See if we can hold that and turn higher. So, it's not much for me on that one. Coin. So I would love to see this hit this target area. I really would. I just really would like to see that hit. If we can hit that, turn and burn, baby. Get through the correction on crypto. I'm actually going to send an alert there. I'd love to see that hit, and then we turn and burn it. Now, Connell, we did hit. We bounced. We have not fired off the conservative entry yet. See, we hit. Working on the bounce. But this one may come on down to the 618 retrace. If coin comes on down to its roadmap line, this one may come on down right in here. Or we can turn and burn. I do still expect higher on crypto. Just we've got the potential for a deeper retrace at the moment. RPM. This is not one I remember ever looking at before, but we're at the bottom here at this uptrend of lows. If we can break through, that's probably going deeper. Coming on down. If we bounce here, good likelihood that rock and roll up to this 150 area, 147, 150. MSTX, like I said, 2x leverage on MSTR. If we do the bigger flush, probably coming on down here. Nothing's changed. Nothing's really changed. Oil, natural gas. This is ultra long natural gas. If natural gas corrects, this is going into the basement, back down to the lows. D-Dog. Let's see. Yep. I would expect this to work its way. Like this may even do a retrace at this point and work its way down to the roadmap line. Would be what I expect. Maybe a 618. Possibly. Right in there. Pretty darn close. All right. PPG. Wow. These guys make paint, right? Yeah, PPG, paint. Manufacturer, distributor, paint. Yep. That's what I thought. Boy, paint business not looking so hot. That high, that low, that high. We could see PPG flushing on down to this area right here. BitU. If Bitcoin's popping, this is popping. If Bitcoin's dropping, back to the roadmap line. This will probably come back to the roadmap line right here. Same with BitX. Just leverage Bitcoin. Probably see that return right back to the roadmap line right there. Dust. This is bear. 2x bear on gold miners. So if gold miners turn the corner and go higher, this thing will probably bounce off of the roadmap line and go lower. One, two, three, right up into the, yeah, man. Classic roadmap bounce from below. extension lower. We'll put it down at 38.40 area right there. This did a reverse split over here, 1 for 10. It's a declining asset. Declines, 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 declines. Be careful chasing this one. And you can chase it into the dirt, but be careful chasing it long right there. All right. Now, I brought a bonus trade. I didn't even put it on here because it has no statistics. Has no nothing. And JT's been a little bearish on it, but I want to show it to you. Let's just go. Let's take it to a clean chart here. Probably don't have a clean chart. Let's see. Here we go. Daily chart. So this is what I saw. We have this high right here. We have this low right here. And depending on which, I guess it's probably that high. It's the one it picked up. We got to close above that 618 right there. Yesterday. Now, this has been declining highs, so I'll be very careful here. If this can break above this downtrend of highs that's been cooking, it's probably pop right up in here. But if it doesn't, we may make a lower low. That's kind of the bonus trade. It doesn't have any history because it's not been around long enough to establish any trades. Maybe like, well, how do we know the statistics on this baby? Well, pop back over here, click the button. It's got one trade and it was a loser, so maybe you don't want to go after that one. I don't know. That was the best looking one out of what I've had. May post something different in Telegram later, but let's not been a lot of great stuff show up on my scanner lately, so be careful out there. Have a great day. I'll be back 5 p.m. Eastern, 30 minutes of awesome. Expectation for today is just caution. If we can break out, we're going higher. If we bounce off of that and go lower, probably setting up to go to the roadmap line in the next couple of weeks. Inauguration coming up right here. That's the big red line on the vertical. Be careful for the next few weeks. I mean, always be careful. Nobody's watching out for your money more than you are, but have a great day. We'll see you at 5 p.m. Set your alarm. Bye for now.